So, going off a bit on the last video I made, I want to make a video about cheap living, because I realize a lot of people my age, yet again, based on the conversation that I overhear, are spending way too much money on dumb things when they should be saving up. So, I'm gonna make a video, and I know there's actually a lot of videos on YouTube talking about living cheaply, but there's not a lot of videos actually talking about the numbers. So I have some numbers here which I think some people should really pay attention to. Alright, so this goes off, let's say you work in a job, you make 8 an hour, right? So I have it written down here. So you're making 8 an hour, you're working 35 hours a week. So then 35 hours a week, 4 weeks a month. That comes out to about $1,120. Okay? So that's how much money you have on $8 an hour job. Okay? So you got your own place, right? Now rent is $350. Now granted, this isn't some nice little apartment, whatever. This is probably some dingy little room that you're renting out from somebody. Okay? I mean, listen, man, you're trying to survive, and this is the best way to do it. All right? So rent is $350 a month. And you got power, cable, and water. Comes out to about $100. Okay. Now, granted, these numbers are obviously not perfect because it varies from state to state depending on your situation, taxes, whatever. But okay, so rent's $350, power, cable, water's $100, gym memberships $30. Now I'll get back into gym membership because I do think a gym membership is important. So that's about $480 right there. Okay, phone $50, car insurance $50, and you have various expenses. So, like gas or whatever. I don't know. So that's $680. So 1,120 minus 680. That's $440 left over to spend on food. Right now, you can get chicken breast for $2 a pound. Okay, sweet dollars for $1 a pound, broccoli for $2 a pound, and like oatmeal, one serving for like $1. Okay, so that's $8 per day. 2, 4, 2, 30, wait, 2, 4. All right, scratch that last bit. But you get the idea. Okay, so you could have a healthy meal with chicken, because obviously chicken breasts, broccoli, and sweet potatoes are very healthy. I mean, they cover basically everything you need. Like, I would add beans into the mix and oatmeal. Well, no, I did add oatmeal, sorry. Add oatmeal into the mix. Okay, so and there's also videos on YouTube of people who spend $50 a week on food. Okay, so 50 times 4, 50, 100, 150, 200, $200 food. Okay, so then you have $440 left over. So 440 minus 200 is $240. So you have $240 left over, and this is on a this is on a $8 an hour job. Okay, so if you're making more than that, you're working $10, $12. I mean, you can have more money left over. Okay, and granted, I mean, if you live with family, I mean, rent, power, cable, water, that's going to be way cheaper, assuming that you help out with the bills, which you probably should if you can, because they're suffering just as much as you probably. Okay, so then this is just broad circumstances if it's really tough, and that show you how you could survive basically off $1,120, $8 an hour. That's barely above minimum wage. Okay, so some other side things I want to talk about. Cars. Do not get a lease on a car. You pay that car in full. Okay? Why? Because first off, you have to pay interest rates. So you end up paying more than you should when you really look at like APR and 0% down. No. Okay? Because you're making, depending on the payment plan, you could be paying for 2 years. Interest rates will kill you. Okay? So buy a car whole. Oh, another thing, insurance. Because when you have a lease on a car, the bank makes you put the top insurance. Okay, so you have protection over everything. And granted, how often do people get in accidents? I mean, if you're a careful driver, how often you get in an accident? Never. But you're paying all this extra. just for a what if scenario. Okay, so I mean, I own my own vehicle, and I put the least amount of insurance on it because I haven't gotten in an accident. I got into one accident when I was 18, and I'm 24 now. Okay, so I'm not gonna pay all this extra money for what if for something that happened back when I just started driving, because I am a very careful driver. All right, maintenance. If you could do it on your own, do it on your own. For example, I changed my own oil actually a couple days ago. You know, I have a Volvo S80 that could run up to $40. You know, I bought the filter, and bought oil, motor oil and everything, and way cheaper in the long term. You get to do it yourself. You know what you're doing, so you know they could you could put whatever motor oil you want. I mean, they could be putting dingy little motor oil that's bad for your car. I mean, I drive a Volvo S80, and you know you have to take care of that car. Okay, so you know what you're doing. You save money, and I mean you do it on your own. It's a good thing. It does get messy though. It got very messy, but you do save money. Phone bill. Okay. I know I mention this a lot, but I mean it's the most obvious example. Don't get the 2-year contract because you are paying more in the long term. I mean, T-Mobile is very smart because they realize that there's a growing market for people who don't want contracts, right? So I have a T-Mobile contract, and I could, you know, whenever if I have to, like, I could just cancel the contract. I mean, there is no contract, but I could just cancel my agreement with T-Mobile at any moment. You know, with Verizon or whatever, you have to pay $200 to cancel out. And mind you, T-Mobile charges like about $50 a month. I mean, for Verizon, for like an iPhone or whatever, you could be paying like $90. Like I mean, granted, Verizon has a very good plan and everything. I mean, the signal's great and everything, but for what the vast majority of people need, it is a waste of money. I mean, honestly, for all that an iPhone does, you could do on a much cheaper phone. It's just more of an status symbol than anything else at this point. Because I own a Nokia Lumia 520, which was about $150, one of the cheaper smartphones out there. Does exactly the same thing, if not more, than what an iPhone can do. You know? Alright, eating out, drinks. I don't recommend you do it. For one thing, not healthy. And second thing, drinks. Drinks can get really expensive. Okay? So I know someone who goes out for drinks once a week. Alright? So let's assuming they get 4 drinks, you know, beer, mojito, whatever. That can cost you $20, right, for 4 drinks. Right? So let's do the math here. 20 times 4, 20, 40, 60, 80. $80 a month spent on alcohol. And I remember for my birthday, I went out and got I mean, I'm a vodka guy, so I went out and bought a couple shots of vodka. I mean, a shot of vodka was like $6. You can go to a liquor store and get vodka for like $11, like a whole bottle for $11. And vodka is one of those drinks that it all tastes the same. I mean, honestly, there really is no difference. It's just more the bottles are different. Because honestly, I mean, maybe they could distill it 4 times instead of 3. But I mean, there really is no difference. So granted, I mean, it's ironic. Like even in this economy, like these cheaper vodka brands are seeing them being bought more. Like Majorska is being bought more than Kettle One. I mean, there really is hardly a difference that you notice, unless you're an alcoholic. Maybe you notice, but I mean, I don't drink enough to really tell the fraction of a difference between vodka. So I don't recommend drinks. I don't recommend eating out. Hobbies. Get a hobby that is not expensive. So for example, like I know people who go paintballing and stuff. I mean, I wish I could go paintballing, but that gets expensive. I mean, for all the gear, buying the paintballs and everything, that gets really expensive. So what did I do? I picked up the bass. And I play the bass now, and I may put videos on YouTube on occasion of me playing. It's fun, it's rewarding, and you know, it could lead to good things, you know. And that was a one-time payment. You know, I paid like $120 for that and the amp, and I'm good. I mean, it kills the time. It's fun. I mean, granted, like if you, I wish I could pay paintball, but when you drop in like $50 a game, you know, it starts adding up. Versus, you know, maybe for maintenance, I had to go fix it once, and that was it. So get hobbies. I mean, meetup.com is great. Like I play soccer a lot, so I mean I could just walk to the park. Again, it's a healthy habit too, a healthy hobby. Meetup.com is great though. You can find anybody. You can find people play, you know, Dungeons and Dragons, soccer. I mean, play music with you even if you want. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about, political parties. Okay, so I mean, all those people in Washington, they're corrupt. I mean, in my opinion, they're all traitors to the country, and they should be removed from office. I mean, not all of them, but most of them. But if you have to choose between getting shot in your hand or in your foot, I like to have a choice. I mean, I would choose the hand. What's the point? Is that one political party will screw you over more than the other. Okay? So, they're talking about when Congress goes back in session, cutting back on food stamps and everything. Alright, so I read an article on the New York Times, and I don't really like the New York Times because, I mean, their whole stance during the Iraq War showed how much of a joke they are, and they haven't changed since then. But they had an article about on the edge of poverty. I don't know if you can see that. On the edge of poverty at the center of a debate. So they're talking about food stamps and everything, and I will call him out. GOP congressman from Tennessee, Stephen Fincher, right? Yep. Stephen Fincher, right? So, he is against food stamps. And you know what he says? He quotes the Bible, out of all things. And he says, "The one who is unwilling to work shall not eat." Now, Mr. Fincher, I have to ask you, in this time of record unemployment in the United States, how can you possibly say that? You know? And you know what's really scary is that they talked to a person here from Tennessee, who's like, oh, you know, I thought, because he was collecting food stamps too, and he actually supports Mr. Fincher, and he says, oh, we'll get by, you know, Mr. Fincher they should cut food stamps and everything. I mean, I don't get it. You know, like, why would you let Mr. Fincher decide your fate? Like the metaphor I use, choosing your hand. Like, I would prefer the option. Why would you not prefer the option? I mean, your food. If he cuts your food stamps, you're gonna have nothing to eat. I mean, this guy's already occasionally having only one meal a day. Anyway, I wanted to also show a picture of this guy, so you see who it is. That's GOP Congressman Stephen Fincher, who loves the Bible. Well, I really hope your priest talks to you, Mr. Fincher, about having a soul. So anyway, that's all I really have to say. I really hope you guys cut back on your spending. Seriously, like, you should not be spending money. Like, I'm a stickler. Like, I'm known as the cheap one in my family. That's how serious I take this. And I mean, hey, you know, I'm not the one. I'm not the one who will be freaking out in the next few years when all hell breaks loose. So, alright guys, good luck.